cylinder. And one of the first things you got to do, this right here is actually a locking pin. It locks in. So what we got to do is we're going to take that apart. We're going to go ahead and we're going to undo the pin, get it ready to come out right here. So, and we're going to do that. And then the other thing up here is we're going to go ahead and undo the lines. If the lines are in there, you won't be able to slide the cylinder out. It'll act like a vacuum in there. Should be a valve in the end that holds those, like when the hydraulics, when you turn the machine off and it holds your boom up, there's like a little check ball valve in there. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and undo everything, get it ready to go, and then we're going to slide this cylinder out so you can see what we got to deal with. I'm also going to show you how to use your own machine right here to go ahead and unbolt. There's a big giant nut at the very end of the shaft right here, and that's what holds everything in, your packing, your seals and all that stuff. So you have to take that off to get all these pieces off. So we're going to go and take that apart, and let me get this broke down some so you can see what we got to do. Alright, this is what I was telling you about. What I did was I just simply take a decent pipe and I put it through where the actual pin would go. And then what we did was we used a pipe wrench. First we got this free, which had to take out, this is like a retainer right here. It clips in to hold the threads so you can't just, so it don't come undone. And then what we did was we used an 8-foot piece of 2-inch pipe, and we put it on the pipe wrench, and that the first thing we broke free was the cap. And this is where we're leaking. Looks like the O-ring's pretty worn out, but the seal's definitely, I mean, it's gone. So we need a new seal, definitely need the O-rings up here, and then we're gonna see. Now it was working good, and these actually look pretty good. I'm gonna take them with me to the hydraulic shop where I'm gonna pick up the new pieces, but this is considered the packing down here. This is what controls your pistons going in and out of the machine, and these are pretty much more for like, this is where it seals going into the top of the cylinder. This is called a piston right here. This is your cap, and then this is actually considered a dust seal up here, but when they're all trash, that's what was letting it leak out. So let me go ahead, and we use the same exact setup. These things can be 900, 1200 foot-pounds of torque, so we literally use this and an 8-foot pole, broke it free. So now that it's all broke down, what we'll do is and we had the cylinder up in the exact same thing. So it was up in the top right there. That's how we used it to break it free. So I'm going to get the rest of this off, break it down, and then when I get it on the workbench, I'll show you what it looks like going back together, and then we'll reassemble it. And that's pretty much, that's what it is. That's all it is, repacking your cylinder. Alright guys, I got this right here out. They call this the bladder. So the bladder's out so I can change out the seals on the inside. So we have a wiper and a dust seal, which, you know, I call it a wiper, but it's a dust seal. That's the first one that goes in, which is this guy right here. Then you can have a buffer, which the buffer is this one right here. They're like they're like for the backup secondary pressures and stuff like that. They call the poly this one, and that's the one further down, this guy right in this groove down here. So like I said, they call this the gland, and we're going to go ahead and rebuild the gland. Now the piston itself is in pretty good shape. This is the actual piston. So now this is your bottom part right here. They call this a piston. Now these two smaller guys right here, those are actually called bearings. I believe this first guy right here is also a bearing, and what the bearings do is they keep the piston from touching the actual barrel. These other pieces right here, I guess they would call that like the actual seal, but mine's in pretty good shape. I've got to clean it up, of course. So we're going to go ahead and concentrate and getting the gland rebuilt, and then I'll show you guys as we do it how pretty much everything you're going to have to do, changing out. Make sure you get everything going in the directions and watch what you had to do. Alright, as you see, I got the seal out. I usually just take a chisel and I'll start in behind one side until I go down and get it to pop free, and then I can get behind it, and then I just pretty much pry it right out. So you can do it different ways. I took out the upper buffer on here so I can get the poly in, and then you'll put the buffer back on top of it to hold it in place. Make sure you do it once over, make sure you don't have any chunks in there and everything. So Yeah, I had to stroke my rod a little bit right here. I mean, well, actually I had to clean my rod, so that way she's ready to go be put back together. So anyways, checked everything, just onced over on the piston, make sure everything was right. Everything looks good. So we're going to finish putting the poly and the seals and the buffers back in this and get the gland ready to go. Gland goes on first, and then we're going to put the piston, and then we put the nut. So anyway, so we have to finish this guy first. So let me get this done. Once it's finished, I'll cut back to it so you can see real quick, and then I'll put it together and show you how we do it. Now we're going to reverse tighten this by using the rod, a pipe up on the machine, so it holds everything in place while we put the big pipe wrench and the 8-foot pole on it, so we can get the torque just right. If you do it on a vise, you can probably do just like we did. We broke the vise, so the machine can handle it, so that's what we're going to use. I'll show you what I'm going to do. Alright, we're back at the machine, and what we went ahead and did was we ran the pin, actually a pipe through the end where the pin would go, and we put the pipe wrench. A lot of times when you get something too big and you don't have the socket size, we use a pipe wrench and a pipe, and we use that to torque it down. And now this one, we got a 3-foot pipe on it with a 2-foot pipe wrench. Now we're probably going to go ahead and put the 8-foot pipe on it and do it one good snug, and then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and put the barrel back on here. But this is pretty much what we do when we're in the field doing the job. Save yourself a ton of money compared to getting the company like here Caterpillar to come out and do this, or getting a hydraulic cylinder place to come out and repair it on site. So we're doing it ourselves, and let me go ahead and get the barrel out and get this torqued down, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, cylinder's back in there. All we did, we took it from where it was right there and literally lifted the cylinder up and over, put the pin in it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the pin down here. We've got to rotate this rod, this right here, so the zerk is up so you can get to it. And then what we do is the final torque up here we're going to do on the machine, so that way that's done. And then we got the pin that goes in right here, and you're done, and that's repacking your cylinder. So let me get this done right here. We get this flipped around, we'll get the pin in, then we'll get it torqued down and ready to go. Alright, as you see, we got the pins back through it, bolts back through the pins, cylinders in. This is pretty much how we do that. We just take a pipe wrench and tighten the bladder in, and then there's a retaining clip, and as soon as that's done, the retaining clip will go back in, and we've already hooked up the line. So next step is putting some hydraulic fluid in it and firing it up and testing it out. But that is how to repack your cylinder, pretty much dead on. Hope that helps. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Catch you next time.